Hello everybody, thank you for being here. We are going to have a webinar today about new market possibilities in smart cities. First of all, thank you to all the attendees, and of course, thank you to the panelists we are going to have. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to do it via chat, so we can share with the panelists. Okay, thank you. I'm going to share a presentation. Tell me if you can see it. It's okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's start. Okay. This webinar is going to be about these new market opportunities. Okay. Prior to start, just a reminder, you have the B2B sessions online and live now. If you don't have time to book a meeting, just leave us a comment and we can arrange in another day, okay? Thank you. Okay, we are going to have a brief presentation of the project, of C2FUTURE project. Where is this webinar involved in? After that, we are going to talk about experiences in Mexico, sorry for the mistake, again, USA and Colombia. And after that, three experts in target markets are going to talk about the new opportunities, okay? And right now, I'm going to give floor to Krasimira Sindarova, who is a coordinator of the project and works in DTI cluster. Okay, Krasimira.
Thank you, Igor. Thank you. Hello, everyone. It's really nice that you participate in our event, and I hope it's going to be very fruitful for you. The webinar will give you a very good understanding about the three target markets, and the B2B will give you the opportunity to match make and to meet new partners and collaborate with them. C2FUTURE, or Clusters for the City of the Future, is a project funded under COSME program of European Commission. It started at the end of 2019, and the main objective of the project is to support small and medium-sized enterprises to go to third countries market or market beyond Europe and to develop new products and services. The project should support their internationalization, and the project, the consortium, is developed by 6 clusters that represent more than 400 companies from 4 sectors: information and communication technologies, mobilities, construction, and environmental technologies, in favor of smart cities. The project is focused on smart cities technologies. Currently, the project consortium covers 5 countries. We are open for new partners. So if any of the cluster is interested in what we are doing, you can contact us and communicate how we can collaborate together. For now, we are from Bulgaria, Greece, Italy, Serbia, and Spain. At the beginning, when we developed this project, we were focused on 5 markets, but after several activities and analysis, we decided to focus on 3, which is United States of America and actually California and California State and Colombia and Mexico. Next slide, please. So what we did until now, you can see the clusters that are represented in the partnership. Next slide, please, Igor. What we did before starting the actual activities, we did a mapping of the competences and did analysis about the need and challenges what the companies that are part of our ecosystem meet in going international. And what we saw that the main difficulties are for identifying the business opportunities, lack of knowledge about this third countries market, and and of course lack of resources, which is again one of the major problems. After this analysis, as I said, we decided to focus on these three markets. Thank you, Igor. For the next slide. So we sit together with the facilitator and several internationalization experts that help us to share knowledge and generate project ideas that are going to be beneficial for the companies and help us to identify potential technological niches and area for complementarities and for developed collaboration. And did some preliminary market intelligence gathering on this third countries market. Thank you. For the next slide. What we had at the beginning, we have had several webinars in order to support companies to understand the global value chain, the market strategies, some information about the IPR protection, and to develop communication and relationship building skills. If you missed these webinars, you can still access them through the dedicated page you can see here, and also in all our social media and YouTube channel. Igor, next slide. So what else we are doing? We organize matchmaking events like this one and like the next three. The next one will be on 5th of April, where you can find and meet companies from different sectors from different countries. We are also supporting companies to cooperate with the organization on European level, and also with companies and partners from these third countries market that I already mentioned. We are going to provide you with information about these target markets and support you to become more visible on European and international level. And also we are organizing conferences, trainings, and matchmaking events. Stay in contact, follow us in the social media. We are going to send you information about all the activities we are doing for free. Next slide, please. At the end of June, we are going to be ready with the strategy and roadmap for internationalization. Now we are in a process of selection of expert that is going to support us to do an in-depth analysis on this target market. And this analysis will be available for SMEs, where you can find the information about the market size, the technological niches, market trends, challenges, and all other opportunities for entering this third countries market. We are in the process of identifying the potential partners and local players that can support the smooth landing on these markets, and identification of potential event and trade session, identification of potential funding resources, and we are developing an internationalization roadmap and financial plan. Next slide, please. And you can find us here. So to be updated on the ongoing and upcoming activities we are organizing. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, please send them in the chat and Q&A, and okay, we will be happy to answer you later.
Okay, thank you, Vesmira. Thank you for presenting the project. Now I give floor to Sara Cortese from Cluster de Lombardia de la Mobilità. I think I said it correctly. Who is going to talk about us the experience in Mexico. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Igor. Okay, if you can put on the, okay, this is the first slide for first time from the Lombardy Mobility Cluster. And I had the opportunity to meet the consulate, the Mexican consulate in Milan during an event on October 21st during the World Manufacturing Forum. So I know them, we knew them, and they are very, very they were very, very clever, and they transmitted us all their info in order to let the companies making business in Mexico. One of the program they present us is this Imex Program, which is the program for the promotion of for companies who would like to open a branch or to make business with Mexico. And it's focused on manufacturing, transformation, or repairing companies, or companies who provides export services. So the Imex program will give some helps to the companies, generally with low taxation, the not application of the VAT, and some compensatory fees were applicable. This refers to different kind of companies or group of companies. For first, you can be an holding company, so a company who controls other company, or an industrial company, or a company of services, an accommodation one, or an outsourcing company. And if you can go on to the second slide, Igor. You can see here that in August 21, more than 6,000 companies were part of this Imex program, and the most of them are manufacturing industries, and let's say that the 20% of non-manufacturing industries. It involves more than 3 million workers. The most of them are involved in manufacturing companies, and the rest in not manufacturing, so agricultural, fishing, trade, and services. This slide reports also the average wages per person for workers, technicians, and administratives, and it just gives you an idea of what can be done in Mexico using this kind of program. In the previous slide, you can find also the reference. There is a website where you can find more info. These pictures were given by the General Consul Maria de Los Angeles Ariola Aguirre in Italy, and I think that you can refer to that office in order to have more info about this kind of program. So I hope that somebody will be interested in open a new branch, or any way to make business in Mexico using this kind of facilities.
Okay, thank you, Sarah, for the presentation of Mexico. Right now, we are going to give floor to Steven Stavro from Field Therapeuticals, who is going to talk about the USA markets. Okay. Steven, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me? Great.
This is the
slide before this one.
Okay, this is the first one. Okay, wait a moment.
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
Oh.
Now, it's okay. Now, right now.
Right. Thank you very much, and thanks everyone, and good morning, good afternoon to all those who are attending. My name is Steven Stavru. I lead business development and strategy for Field Therapeutics, which in the context of this event is a digital therapeutics and digital biomarker company in the health tech space with European DNA but US roots. So I hope this will be an example today of the startup perspective, but also the perspective of smart cities being healthy cities. So I'll show a bit about how we have sort of local talent and operations based in Europe, but with large US presence. We're a global organization with headquarters in San Francisco, but with offices in Europe and in Asia. Field Therapeutics is digital precision medicine for mental health. So we're on a mission to reinvent the way we diagnose, manage, and care for mental health through the use of objective data. And the key problem that we solve for is that in mental health and more broadly in neuroscience, we primarily rely on self-reported data and questionnaires in order to make diagnosis and treatment decisions. So in tackling this challenge, our digital solutions help support research studies and the collection of real-world data and evidence, particularly with our pharma partners who you can see, I think, yep, the slide's there on your right side. And also, most importantly, result in greater outcomes for users and patients, both for mental and emotional well-being, but also in engagement compared to other solutions and other standards of care. So if we go to the next slide, a little bit about how we do this, and then I'll talk about how we're able to do all of this in the US. Firstly, we focus on building the world's largest biobank for mental health data based on data we collect through wearable devices, specifically our proprietary field emotion sensor, which can detect emotions based on various built-in sensors, through our Field mobile app, which can collect voice and text data and other sources of data, through digital therapists and provider dashboards that we offer as part of our programs, and some other data points. And the goal is really to develop solutions that support the individual, but at the same time create real-world evidence and discover new biomarkers through the data platform. So we can pull in all this data and analyze it through proprietary algorithms that we use for insights and interventions. We also have a series of markers that we have developed related to mood, which you'll see on the screen, such as emotional reactivity, mood changes, other markers like sleep, stress, psychomotor activity, balance, and many others. But what makes what we do unique is that we don't just stop at the calculation of these markers. We integrate those markers into digital programs for a series of different conditions. And those could be digital therapeutic programs like what we currently have for depression and anxiety to support those suffering from depression and anxiety. And these programs are actually currently undergoing regulatory clearance in the US right now. So that's one of our bigger plays in the US. And a series of other programs in the pipeline, such as in multiple sclerosis and insomnia and breast cancer, and other chronic conditions that have a mental health comorbidity. Just as a side note for some of the work we do in the EU as well, we do some complementary research in the EU, such as a project we're participating in now called EU Polis and Heart, where our field emotion sensor, the wearable that I described, will be deployed to help collect data and monitor and detect the changes in emotions of people in certain European cities. So the project focuses on major challenges some European cities face to provide environments that support public health and well-being. And as we like to think, smart cities are healthy cities. So in projects like these and in European cities, such as the ones being targeted, we hope to create resilient urban ecosystems through better mental health. So as a global organization with presence in the EU and with European founders and employees, if we go to the next slide, I'll talk a little bit about how we sort of operate in the US and what we've faced and how we sort of compete and scale there. We're headquartered in San Francisco with a team out there. So firstly, doing business in the US for us and for others, even as a tech product, where you're not actually physically trading goods or importing, exporting, it's important to have presence in the US. And this relates to point number 2, which is we're backed by some top tier investors in the US, VCs with great reputations and hubs like Silicon Valley. And it's important to note in general that US VCs and investors alike, for startups and small businesses looking to go to the US, will like to see some US presence, whether it's a US-based team or offices. So if you're going to get funding in the US to expand into the US and take their money, some sort of US presence may be necessary. And so, we're a good example of a business that has European talent and operations, but we're sort of funded and expanded into the US and growing in the US. One of the other ways we've done this is we've also developed and are continuing to develop partnerships with major stakeholders in our sector. So this not only helps us break into the market with a local partner, but also helps bring us to market as a product offering. So just to keep in mind that entering any new market, especially the United States, can be a lot more effective and efficient when partnering locally. And of course, piloting, proving your product in the US market to gain traction over the long term. And we've conducted some pilot programs to do that as a way to build traction. The US, compared to the EU, has a lot more active early adopter users, even more so than some larger EU member states. So it's a good place to get data to test. It's got a single language market. There's general alignment on rules and regulations, which could be a challenge in Europe between member states. We also have a board of advisors with industry professionals in the US who have very deep expertise in the market. They offer advice, guidance, and most importantly, help connect us through their network. So networking has been extremely important for our US presence, and it's strongly advised to seek out those warm introductions, to expand your presence on LinkedIn, attend conferences and competitions to find new contacts, to bring on mentors who will help you. One of the challenges of expanding into the US market is growing your network abroad. So, take every opportunity to do that. From a healthcare standpoint, we're also under regulatory review in the US with the FDA with our products. So this will be a significant trigger of our US market presence. It's a lengthy and costly process. So, whenever doing something like this, just ensure you have the right people and the right experts to consult you. In general, the fail fast, move on concept, works here because long bouts of figuring it out in a market like the US can be quite expensive. Resource costs are generally higher, and talent and labor is much more expensive. And just speaking generally sort of about regulatory and compliance issues, no matter what product or industry, it's important to make sure you're up to standards for the market. And then a bit of a sidetrack here, but from a legal angle, that you have all your legal components in place, local registrations, intellectual property, especially trademarks and copyrights in the US. So just overall key considerations for the US market based on our experience is it's a large market. So make sure you have the right market entry strategy. And that could involve targeting certain states. There's 50 states in the US, which depending on your product can be treated differently. Expand your network through local advisors, local connections, local partners and partnerships. Ensure you have some sort of presence, whether it's employees like we do or offices. Seek out US competitions and accelerators and other programs. They're good ways to open up your network and make connections. Make sure to meet standards. And remember that European talent and operations can really help support global market expansion, especially in the US, which is working quite well for us. So that's our experience in the US as a European DNA company. And thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Steven, for giving us this picture of USA. And last of our experience is the one from Aclima, okay, in Colombian market, okay. I made this checklist of things to do, okay. I'm going to talk about our own experience, but it's also to copy to private enterprises, okay, for doing things in new countries. First of all, knowing the country, okay, not only knowing geographically or where is it, but also knowing the market, okay. The things they need, what are their projects, what are their needs, what are their expectations, okay. And also knowing if you are the right enterprise, right actor to go there. And I always say I want to go to Japan, but okay, just for summer, not for doing business, because at least in Aclima environmental sector, we have nothing to do in Japan. Okay, So first of all, know the target country. After that, you have to know the key actors in our sectors, at least mobilidad and environment. And much of the actors are public entities, government, deputies, provinces, governors. So you have to know who are the people you need to contact. You are going to send your presentation, to send your offers, okay, for getting the right answer to the needs. Also, to know what they need in every time, okay, and not only local entities, but also the supranational entities, Bank of Inter-American Development, World Bank, monetary fund, international monetary funds, and all these kind of bigger entities who can help you to make projects in this country. After that, get in touch with complementary entities as clusters, who are public, semi-public, semi-private entities. You have to get in touch with some entities. I put there ACODAL, who is also associate of Aclima, is a local association in all Colombia about water sanitation. We made a reciprocal association for us to have a bridge to get in Colombia. Okay, so you know your these complementary local entities who can help you to know the situation in the country. Of course, look for financial aid. Of course, any money you can get from anywhere should be good for your project. But not only financial aids, but any kind of aid from your public entities, your government, and the target market governments or public entities. Okay, because sometimes the help is not monetary, but in terms of getting to know via webinars, via business breakfast, or via contacts there. So they can help you to enter this new market, okay? As they have a lot of information you don't have. Don't hesitate to squeeze them asking for information, because they are always willing to help new projects, okay? Also, collaborate with local partners. I think Isabel is going to talk about for sure. They have strict laws about working for public entities. You have to collaborate with local partners. At least one local partner should be involved in any project. So you have to look for them to collaborate with them via a joint venture, via collaboration agreement, via any kind of. In these cases, talk with the embassies, the target market embassy in your country, or your embassy in the target market, because they are going to help you to find these suitable local partners. Okay, and the last 3 points are how to start working. Okay, go with direct commercial missions. We the clusters are willing to help you to go there, but as I said, the collaboration or the way to do things there is, of course, first of all, clusters or your associations you're involved. I encourage you to associate to an association of your sector, as they are going to help you to do these kind of things. If I go to, for example, to Bogota, to Colombia, to present one of our associates, okay, I'm going to go with a PowerPoint, with a video, with some brochure, and it's okay because it's the first step. But if the possible client makes me any kind of technical questions, for sure I won't be able to answer the question. So go with your cluster, with your association, as they are going to open you doors, but you have to go with them and present this kind of your offer. You can present your offer. And okay, the videos, the brochure, the slides are very nice. You know, Photoshop is great for, you know, making a good picture of your plant or of your solution. In Photoshop, everything is great, everything is nice. But the next step is inverse commercial mission. What for? After knowing the needs in the country, after contacting local partners, after looking for possible clients, after going there and present yourself, okay, you have to take them to your plant, to your business, to your enterprise. What for? Okay, for what I say, Photoshop is great, but it's better to show, for you to show the client in life your solution, okay? Because, you know, living presentation is the best, okay? So take care of your clients. I always say, if you have a client 10 kilometers ago from your enterprise, you go to see them almost every week. You invite coffee with them every day, every month. Okay, people in countries far away are also your clients. Okay, you can't go every month to Colombia because it's so expensive, but take care of your clients. Okay, it's very important because our experience is that if you don't get in touch with them regularly, then their expectations fell down very quickly. Okay, and also use congresses and B2B events that are all around the world, almost every week, every 2 weeks. It's a kind of congress, virtual congress, B2B sessions, and all this kind of stuff. Use them to get in touch, to look for new solutions, for new problems and for new offers. Okay, we know this is a marathon race. Okay, you won't find a new client, a new project, a new contract in 1-2 months, even 1 year. Okay, we are working on Colombia since 2016, and we have only 3 or 4 contracts signed. Okay, so it's a long-term run. Don't fall from the run, but you have to keep it going. Okay, and this is our experience. You can see there a photo in a direct mission we made with Acodal in Acodal congresses. It was 2017. After being there from 1 year, going there every 3 months to get in touch with the local government, with Acodal, who have signed the association contract, and we made there a congress in Acodal, okay, with a lot of people. 45 people were there. Okay, so it's a nice run. It's a long run, but you should get a lot of contracts. Okay, and this is our experience. We have been working also in Mexico, and we are now going to start working on USA, and we hope to collaborate with all of the C2FUTURE clusters, and also with any enterprise who wants to join us in this challenging project. Okay. So thank you very much, and this is the end of the first part in our experience. And now I'm going to give floor to Isabel, who is going to talk us about the solutions and opportunities in Colombia. Okay, Isabel, are you there? No, she's not there. Isabel, you?
Sorry.
Yeah,
Hello.
okay.
I was speaking with the microphone off. I was looking at, thank you, Igor. I was looking at the picture and I was remembering that I met you right there in Cartagena in that event with Acodal back in 2017.
Yeah. I think this photo is prior to your arrival, because you arrived in the afternoon.
After that.
I think this photo is private.
It was
I knew you there. So,
yes.
she's the right person to enter Colombia. I know for sure.
Thank you. Well, let me share my presentation. Well, good morning for me and good afternoon for everyone. I'm Isabel Caro. I am the country manager of the team Colombia, and I'm right now in Cali, Colombia. We have an office in Bogota and in Cali. And I appreciate the invitation to participate in this event. I'm just trying to, okay, share the screen. I don't know if you can see my presentation. Yes, can you see as the full screen? Yeah, okay. All right, so I'm just going to be talking a little bit about smart cities in Colombia, mobility, construction, and environmental, which are the what the country regarding this sector has the focus on. Okay, but first of all, where's Colombia? Well, right here for some of you that are like super far away. We have a very strategic location because we're like in the north of South America and the south of Central America. So we have we also are a very rich country with lots of resources and also a lot of problematics or situations that we actually need to solve. So those are opportunities. And the government and the law has also been focusing on the environmental initiatives. So this is where we are, and well, the smart cities. So sorry. The government had one of the problematics that the government identified was the poor connection for internet, the poor internet connection. So they had a really big plan of install the national fiber optic program. So that's something very important for us, like that right now there are a internet connection among most of the country, yes, or a big percentage of the country, which allows new technologies to arrive even to the further places in the country. Okay, we know that it's very important for the citizens and the well-being to be open and to install technology that can improve the quality of life of the citizens, of the Colombian people, and also that can help with all the problematics that we have in the country. Regarding mobility, well, one of the focus of the government and also the companies here is to find clean mobility. The strategies that we have implemented are like electric cars. They're really few, and it's not like the trend, but you know, electric cars here don't pay taxes. They don't have the plate restriction. The plate restriction is the government has this law in the main cities where not all the cars can go around the city. So you have some days where your car, according to the number of the plate, can have permission to go around. They have also have a bike paths plan around the big cities, and also education. The biggest problems that we faced in the country are the access, and that means that there are places where, you know, the access is still a problem, because, you know, there is still missing like a complete public transportation for everybody. You know, security, which is a big issue here, as you may know. So new technologies or new proposals that can help us with these problematics are more than welcome. And accidents, yes. So that's why the government has an education plan, and we're still, you know, like implementing it. Regarding construction, there is also, as some of you may know, Colombia, it's the construction is one of the biggest and growing sectors that support the national economy. So there is a lot of construction here. So we're looking for companies or solutions that can help us, especially with the reuse of water and its dischargers. All of, you know, like any technology or any company that can also you know, like all the water filtration or the control of the leaks, etc., and the energy efficiency in buildings. Also, there is I'm telling you about the Consejo Colombiano de Construcción Sostenible, which is Sustainable Colombian Council of Construction. And also the government have implemented like regulations, such as, you know, as sustainable a project can be construction or something else. You know, there are some benefits regarding taxes, and also, you know, the big companies, the industrial sector, are looking for new ways to implement, you know, the green a green economy, a sustainable processes, etc. So we as a country and culturally are really open to new opportunities for new technology, for new companies that give us the solutions of all the problematics. And also regarding the environmental, you know, the energy has is a big issue, and is one of the focus of the country and the government, using renewable electricity, anything that makes all the process sustainable. Also, there is a plan for the fight against deforestation. For this year, we have a goal that is planting 100 million trees by August 2022 around the country. There is also a plan to take care of the jungle, which is in Amazonas, and there is these are like the focus of the government, the implementation of the circular economy strategy. So all of these are opportunities for the companies, the clusters, and any solution regarding mobility and construction and all the environmental solutions that we can have. Okay. Well, that was very short. I don't know if there is any question. Hello?
Hello. Yeah.
1 second, I'm just need to see you all. Well, and regarding Colombia, I can also say that as a country, we always welcome, you know, like European technology or the United States American technology. So we would be very interested. There are like different organizations that have like associations of different companies, you know, focusing on the for example, energy or the electricity and the water and construction and mobility, as I show you. So we find, you know, an opportunity at this presentation and the opportunity to be here as you know, as a sign of you know, like not I don't want to use the word business, but synergies, you know, like you know, that we can use here with the solutions that we can find there. So I don't know if there is any question about the country. As Igor told you, we also have participated in with different clusters here and with Aclima and, you know, in the different events, because there are constantly, you know, different events and fairs where all the interest group of interests are presented. So, you know, if you know, need any support or help, you know, I'm just welcome to the country. I'm here too.
Okay, thank you, Isabel. If not, I have a question for you, just to start, if someone has one. With this actual situation, you know, and also with your elections for president, you are running out right now. Okay. I have two questions. The first one is regarding the situation. How is the country? How is the country running now? Or how is the country keeping with the situation? Is there should be any problem for doing business in a short, medium term? I hope in the long term we can get out of this situation. This is the first one, and after I'll make the second. Okay.
Okay. Yes. Thank you for the question, Igor. Well, we still don't know, you know, who's going to run the country for the next years, but we're pretty sure that even, you know, any of the candidates are in the with the press as it's elected as a president. I think the government has like real strong I don't know how to say this, but there is a lot of policies, you know, to ensure the investment of foreign countries here. So that even though we change the government, I don't think that's going to change easily. Yes. So there is a lot of facilities. No, facilities is not the word. A lot of facilities, more Spanish. There are like easily or guarantees for the people or for the companies that come to the country with policies of state policies.
Okay, and the second one is about the elections. Okay, what are the problems or, you know, barriers in this moment for enterprises, of course, outside enterprises, broad enterprises, to invest or doing business now? Because I know you have a strict rule of, you know, making business with administration during this period of elections.
Yes, that's true. You know, after, I mean, before we know who the president is, there is not any contracts, or there are not any business we can do. There is a 6 months rule. So, you know, like politicians do, this is, you know, to avoid, you know, like corruption. That's the word I wanted to use. Yes, to avoid corruption. So we have to wait until, you know, the election, after the elections and knowing, but I don't think the elections could change the warranties that you know, maybe if we have a bad president, I don't want to say this, but it will take a while for him to ruin, you know, all the warranties that we have been building so far. So there is going to be enough time to see if you know, like there are opportunities, or you know, we can do business here. So we're not really worried, because we don't think that's going to happen, and we're pretty sure that there is a lot of future and opportunities in the country.
Okay, thank you, Isabel. Okay, Marina has raised the hand, so I think she has a question. Okay,
Yes, I would like to ask Isabel, because Igor presented us what is their experience and what would be like the first step, how to enter some new markets. But with your experience, what would be, let's say, your advice to the companies? What should be the first step? Is it, again, some conference, some event, or they should first do some due diligence and then start to think about who to approach, or just go through the clusters and the association? What would be your advice from the field, let's say? Isabel? Thank
you. Yeah, I like that question very much. Yes, as Igor said, you know, every time you enter in a new market, a new country, it's better to go with a local, you know, local company, a local cluster that can guide you, you know, like through the culture and the law and the opportunities. So my advice would be, you know, to depending on what your goal is in the country, you know, find the right partner, and or that could be, you know, a company or another cluster or association, because there are a lot of associations here that they are not they don't really work as a cluster, but you know, like there are also like in the sector, like a similar figure. So coming with a local, you know, asking, make sure, I mean, like, be sure that anything that you may need in the here, you know, very available and very interested for you to have a good experience and to find whatever you need here.
Thank you.
Yeah, Igor, I think your microphone is off.
Okay, thank you, Isabel. Any other questions you have to make to Isabel? Okay.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Isabel. Okay, and now I'm going to give floor to Pedro Pajares, who is an expert in USA market. He's going to talk us about the possibilities there. Okay, thank you, Pedro.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon for everyone. First, let me apologize, I'm late. I have a previous meeting with a client that was running a bit too long. So again, my apologies. And well, I wouldn't go as far as say expert, but been living here for 14 years give me a good advantage of how the local market is. And what is most important is how we can support foreign companies. When I mean foreign, I say foreign from the US to do business in the US. In these 14 years I've been working here, I've been, my first 7 years, I was the head of operations of a multinational company in Spain. It's, the name is Abengoa, so I don't know if it doesn't run a bell. And I was in charge of making sure that any step that we did in the project, in the country, we were in compliance with rules, regulations, we have the right insurance, we have the right type of contracts with people, companies, suppliers. And that I switched that in 2016. And so that's when I started M&I Consulting, or we started M&I Consulting. And we were doing basically the same, making sure that our clients were in compliance with the local regulations. And also we started maybe a year later, 2017, supporting foreign companies doing business in the US. So the key thing here is to understand that United States, it's a beast in itself. I could say that literally there is market for any type of product, any type of service in the US. Keep in mind that this market is at least as big as Europe market, the European market, with probably 3 times the economical power that the European has. Excuse me. So being said that, the key part here is, as President Kennedy says, I really fear 2 things: death and the IRS, which is the revenue service. And they are extremely powerful. Okay, so they can seize all your properties within minutes. So it's important to understand that the approach to coming to the US, it has to be with 2 things in mind. One is, here it's extremely important to make sure that you comply with the rules, with the legality and the taxes. And so once you have that in mind, is make sure that, so that's the key part. And for that, as Isabel was saying before, it's really important that you find someone local that can help you to navigate this process. Obviously, being me here, I would say that local should be me, but obviously it's a really big country, so we can support your activities one way or the other. And the second part is Americans and American companies have a different approach, or when doing business, they are sometimes they have for sure Spaniards, and the European, we're not used to this really direct approach of, it's going to take, an American is going to take them 3 minutes when he's talking to you to see what do you do, how much money do you make. Okay, we don't ask that in Spain, at least. So what else is if you have any questions, please interrupt me at any time. Okay. But I guess the approach is make sure that your plan, that you have your business plan, it's good, it's solid. We can help you on that. And this, what we do here is it's what I call localization, meaning that we get your plan, your product, and your service, and we transform it in a localized to the US market. There have been some cases where we have to change the name of the product because the name of that particular product in American slang means something that you don't want that to be associated with the product. Okay, so yeah, it's Marina, you can love, but it's that can destroy a product and any opportunity. So yeah.
Yeah, I understand correctly, Pedro, because we have some similar stories here in Serbia, also having like different meaning of the words.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so my question, if I may now, is actually, is it your then advice to be completely legally supported by some local office when we enter the US market, especially if it is like product based or something like that, or it should be like do the prior to the entering the market at all?
Definitely prior to entering the market, you need to investigate what you can. There are some products that you don't need to set up a US base. You don't need to have a US branch, and you can do the sales from from abroad. Then you will need to clarify what's going to be the tariffs that your product is going to be received. It's going to get once you go through customs. But definitely, it can be done both ways. It's another particularity of the US market is once you come here to the US, and I have seen that to many of my clients, it's okay, that's great. Your product looks really bad. I mean, really good on your service or for your country of origin. But what have you done in the US? So the first entry is complicated. That's why I always recommend that find a local partner that can help you to give the entry to the market. And there are some services that doesn't require. I just have a client that we started working a few months ago that they were able to make their sales from Europe, and now they are starting to build another market here, but they already have one first big sale here in the US that is helping them to open the market. That is hard to see happening. I haven't seen that very little time. So the majority of the times is the company who has identified US as a strategic growth market. They want to come here and they try to start out of the blue. They by himself and just send, yeah, I'm going to get somebody from my office. I'm going to send it over there and he's going to be your liaison or agent or business development director. And that will crash.
Okay.
Unless you have a really some woman there, unless you have the chance that you have a really a connection from outside. So my recommendation would be, yes, find somebody local or let us help you to find that somebody local.
Okay, Isabel has a question. Isabel?
Yes, Pedro, thank you very much for your presentation. I understand, like the states is like so many different states or like with different laws. Are there any states that are more focused on like different sectors? Like like we understand that like in the middle of the country there is a lot of oil production. So are there like can we have like a map where, no, I'm not saying that you have to present the map now, but is there or can we have a guide or to understand or to identify the places where different solutions or products regarding water or mobility or like are more interested? Or
yeah, thanks for the question. It's how long do I have? So basically it's there are four main areas of within the US market-wise. The two coast, and then the what they call the fly-by state, which is a state in the middle of the country. It's also called the Corn Belt, and the north part, in the northern states like North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, all those. It's technology, TICs, IT, mobility, smart grids, high level technology. It's definitely both sides, I mean, both coasts. Within the West Coast, California is the one who is dominating any single market. So it's a state where it's all technologies are blooming, but it has small grids, renewable energies, either solar photovoltaic, hydrogen, water recycling, water treatment, waste management, waste recycling. It's there. As the good part is there is a lot of money available in California for investments. The bad part is the most regulated state in the United States. And it's probably the states with the highest taxes for both companies and individuals. So that's why most of the companies, such as Tesla, they are flying out of California and setting up their base in Texas. Then in terms of pure energy consumption or generation is the Northeast corridor from Boston to Washington. That's where I live. The energy demand here is so high and the energy infrastructure is so old and obsolete that there's going to be several billions investment over the next 10 years to upgrade all the network. And that grid update will not be focused as it was before or we have one energy plant that generates thousands of megawatts, and we have these huge transmission lines going different ways. Now the generation is going to be focused on the locations. So there's going to be smaller plants, smaller generation facilities adjacent to the consumption points or to the consumers. That is what will allow the microgrid connections, and that's also going to be supporting, and that because that goes going to hand the small grids with smart cities. The goal here in the US, sorry, I'm seeing something in the chat. And the goal here is that the goals in the US, it's by 2050, most of the states, they have a carbon neutral plan. Hawaii has a carbon neutral plan that is, they want to go 100% carbon neutral and 100% renewables by 2050. Last update from 2021, they are 10 years ahead of the plan. So they're thinking by 2040, they're going to be full 100% carbon neutral. California has the same plan. Washington State, Washington, DC, New York, New Jersey, Florida, Texas. Texas is going to be harder because they are the highest oil generator, oil production in the world, and I mean the country. So they have oppositions over there. But and I think I'm deviating from your question, Isabel.
It's okay. Good. Thank you. I understand.
So from that side, could be from the coast, I could say that was the most important. Then the Middle States, they are mostly focused on infrastructures, on physical infrastructure. So it's like roads, bridges. When that's where the majority and the infrastructure investment is going to happen. We're seeing that in Texas. Texas is using either state funds or federal funds up to, I think it's $2.7 billion just to upgrade roads. And that update, it's not only from the physical road, but also they are working on mobility, some plans to reduce the traffic, which is a heavy issue. It's Americans, they like to go, and they're gonna go, they take the car and go to buy bread. Okay, so it's a car here is present everywhere, especially in the larger states like Texas, or especially the ones in the north that its distances are so large. And then another step that is, I see that happening, and I have a meeting with Tesla 2 weeks ago. It's they are saying that the electric cars, not only Teslas, but electric cars in the US is a market that by, they're expecting that in 15 years from now, by 2037, 1 out of 2, I think it's quite, that's a bit optimistic, but they think that 1 out of 2 new cars is going to be electric car here in the US. And so that means that in the next 15 years, they are going to arrive, it's going to arrive something like 150 million electric cars, which I still harder to believe, but that's what's the plan. And they thinking that the market trend is shifting from owning the car to owning a service to pick up cars. So it's basically a huge Uber on demand. So that's also something else to be considered. For that to happen, not only the cars has to be available, but also the technology to control those cars and to communicate back and forth with the car and with the service. It's also need to upgrade the system. That means networks, platforms, apps, controls, security, cybersecurity. That's something that needs to increase their presence in the US market exponentially in the next 10 years. For that, I would say Texas, Florida, and Washington, DC are going to be the key 3 areas. And sorry it took a little bit longer, but I think I answered your question.
Good answer. Here
Yes,
in
thank
Spain,
you.
we have almost the same problem. Here for 2030, new cars would be electrical and not contaminating. And for 2040, they are saying no car using petrol is going to run in the streets. Okay, as you said, this is very optimistic, you know, because
Well, I used to be quite what's the word I'm looking for? Skeptic on that, until you see that the market and the trend in the market is the large oil and gas producers on the world are the one investing on the EV companies. So when you see that trend is shifting, and then that's what I think that it can happen. I'm not gonna say it's gonna happen for sure, but I'm a bit more optimistic or less skeptic now than I was a couple of years ago.
It should be great. Yeah, we have the problem of, as you said, the grid, the power grid, the app, the IPPs, and everything around the electric car. Because sometimes we forget that the car is the center, but there are a lot of things around the electric cars that you have to improve almost prior to having an electric car. Okay.
Yeah, and the thing is, nowadays it's really easy from the technical point of view, and even for the economical, it's not that expensive anymore to create that infrastructure. It is not that you need to, again, as I said, we can generate energy almost at any point, especially in Spain. And I mean, anywhere you have sun, we can generate it. So using high generation capacity solar panels together with energy storage, with battery energy storage systems, we can create an infrastructure point from loading or recharging electric cars anywhere, literally anywhere. And the cost of that is, especially with the rising cost of energy, that means that your ROI for any one of those facilities is going to be within 3 to 5 years. So it's a matter of having the right support for the local authorities to make sure that can happen.
Political question.
Yeah, that's a completely different conversation.
Okay, thank you, Pedro. Is any other question for Pedro? No. Yes.
Okay.
No?
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, and we have a new guest, Mark Spinoglio, excuse me, from Florida High Tech. Wants to speak a little about possibilities in Florida. I'm going to give him a floor. Wait a moment. I'm going to make him panelist. Okay. So, Mark, are you there? Yeah, I think he's here.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. Hello, Mark. Welcome to the.
Thank you. I wasn't expecting to speak this morning, or I should say this afternoon, but thank you for the opportunity. First off, Pedro, very nice to meet you as well, and from Spain and you're in the US. And I completely agree with everything that you said. I'm an American, but I lived in Portugal for several years, worked with a Portuguese consulting firm for 20 years, and I assisted European companies entering the US market. And so I now live in the US, and I'm assisting US organizations in establishing what I think are best practice cluster management organizations, which all of you understand very well. So I'm involved with the cluster organization in Central Florida at the moment. I've led their establishment in ensuring that they apply best practices. So if you saw what I put in the chat, Senfluence, if you go to the website, you will see that very much looks like a European cluster organization. because I've worked with European cluster organizations for now more than 10 years. But I was very interested in the conversation today, and I thought that with Pedro talking, I thought I would put our organization on the chat. And you know, to the question that someone raised earlier about our markets, different markets in the U.S. as best places to target in the U.S., I completely agree with what Pedro said. And what I find is that companies find the U.S. very challenging, because it's such a large market and it's very hard to determine where you should enter and where you should focus. And so what we're doing in Central Florida is we have 4 clusters there because we have very good industries in those clusters. And so we see that as a very good entry point for any organizations within those 4 clusters. And so you'll find some of those clusters touch on folks that might be on this discussion today, in the learning sciences and gaming entertainment, and actually we're looking at smart cities as a potential next cluster because of the concentration we have in Central Florida. Something that I think Pedro alluded to is that there's a lot of federal funding coming out with Build Back Better and with the infrastructure investments in the US. That we're seeing a lot of federal funding there available to support objectives around smart cities and the whole work in the internet infrastructure. So we're definitely seeing that focus now. But I just want to say hello to everyone. And you see our Centfluence webpage and my contacts there. And if I can be of any assistance in any discussions, please let me know. So very nice to meet you.
Now that I have you both here, Pedro and you, Mark, I have a question. As I asked Isabel, I know several countries ask you to have a local partner for doing business. Is the same in the USA? Do you need to have a local partner, a joint venture, some kind of agreement to start working, or you can go from abroad and start doing business, as you know, okay, with all this stuff, all these requirements, but we can go alone. We have to have, you know, a cushion there.
Can I go? And then Mark, you can. I'm just gonna give this comparison. Think that you have your way on and you're moving through. Okay, so having a local partner, that means it's like you have your wheels around. Coming here with a local partner, a local concept, and I think it's me that I just want to say that you have a square wheels, but just let's say oval. Okay, coming to the US with someone who can help doesn't mean that has to be a JV, a company that you acquire, or even someone that you hire here. It's gonna make you, it's gonna make it easier if you find someone, a local support. And that local support, obviously it depends on your financial capabilities and your strategic plans. I have seen clients that they want to do everything themselves because they don't want to share a piece of the market. That's fine. That means that the deployment time and the initial costs are going to be way higher. Finding a local partner is going to allow you to minimize and optimize your initial cost, and 2, get faster to market. I don't know, Mark, what you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Pedro. When I work with companies, I look at, small, medium companies, you want to, well, with all companies, you want to limit the financial risk. But small, medium companies, definitely in most cases, it's finding a local partner because that limits your financial risk and makes it easier to come to market. And so most folks that I've worked, most companies I've worked with in the past, it's always been around identifying and establishing a local partner. And especially in products, if you're looking at high tech, then it just depends on what your objectives are primarily. But really, to minimize your financial risk, and investment, then a local partner is definitely necessary.
Yeah, and something else to consider is U.S. market is a highly protectionist market. And we have seen over the last, I would say, the last 10, 12 years, increase of the buy local, buy American, made in the USA. And especially if you're targeting work with the federal government, the state governments, they have mandatory percentage of the contract that they have to be local. So have to be money spent locally. So if you don't have that local component, that means that you're completely out. There's nothing you can do there. So yeah.
Not of course doing business with private, but with public entities.
Yeah.
As a smart cities market or sector is almost for public entities. Okay, the target clients are public. That was my question. Thank you very much, both of you. Any other question for USA market? No.
No, it's
okay. Thank you, Pedro. Thank you, Mark, of course.
Well, I had one question, Pedro.
Okay.
You mentioned where you're located. Could you please tell me? Are you?
Yeah,
Northeast?
I'm located in Washington, close to in Virginia.
Okay. Excellent.
But I'm 17 minutes away from the White House, so
yeah. You're in a very good location for folks that want to come to the U.S. Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, Mark, I have your contact info. We should talk.
Yes, definitely. So
yeah,
very nice to meet everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, both of you. And the last but not least, we have Jorge Olmedillo, who is going to talk us about the Mexican market. Okay. Thank you for joining us, Jorge. And of course,
hello everybody.
In your morning.
Yes.
Morning.
Yes, no problem. I thought that it was later and I was the last one, but
never mind.
Sorry for that. Okay, but so I am going to use a presentation to support the explanation.
Yeah.
So I am going to share the here. Okay.
Okay, we see it.
Okay. You see the presentation correctly?
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the opportunities in the smart cities sector in Mexico. I suppose that most of you already know about Mexico, or maybe you have done business here in Mexico City. So I am going to follow this index. I'm going to speak a little bit about Mexico's smart cities, and then a little bit about each point. Okay, mobility, construction, environmental, and new technologies. Wait a moment. Okay, so Mexico. As I told before, I suppose that you know where is this, but it is a huge market with 130 million people living here. And not only that, but it is the gateway for the North American and Latin American market. So many companies, European, American, and Asian companies are coming here to Mexico to expand their products or services, because the market that you access is huge, you know? And it is a very big potential in smart cities, because there are two problems here that it is quite easy to resolve by technology. The first one is the safety in the cities, and the second one is the mobility. That there are huge cities without any road planning or structural planning. So, for example, Mexico City, here are the biggest cities or metropolitan areas in Mexico. Mexico City is 22 million people living in. It is the half the population of Spain living in a city. So it is absolutely huge, and of course there are quite mobility problems, especially mobility problems with, of course, traffic congestion, pollution, inefficient in the logistics. And the second biggest city is Guadalajara. The third one is Monterrey, and the fourth one is Puebla, is the metropolitan area of Puebla. And I wanted to take advantage of this situation because in June, it is going to be a very important expo here in Yucatan, very close to Cancun, and it is going to be about smart cities in LATAM, so maybe it is interesting for you. Okay, about mobility. As I told before, Mexican cities have grown very disorderly and dispersed because they have no any structural plan, and they have grown chaotically. So it has generated some problems in the society. For example, as I told, the population is affronting a lot of problems, as pollution, as traffic congestion, noise pollution, and of course deaths from traffic accidents. And I think all these problems can be solved with technology, especially in this kind of cities. Okay, and this innovation in smart cities, it is coming especially from private initiative, because I think this data is very interesting, that the government has developed only 7 apps for urban mobility in all the country, against the 49 apps developed by the private initiative. So I think it is very clear that all this innovation, all this technology is coming from private companies more than the government, because I am not going to start talking about the government, but there are some problems, and they are not gambling for environmental mobility. They have another projects on mind. But it's important to know that all this innovation comes from private companies. I wanted to explain some success stories, because I think it can help you also to gather opportunities in the market with some examples. And the main one and the most important one in Mexico is Ecoviti. Ecoviti is the public bicycle system of Mexico City from 2010. And I know that it is not very innovative, and in many European cities, we already have this kind of services with bicycles and electric bicycles, of course. But in Mexico City, it is really a success story, and it was really well. It has more than 400 stations with more than 6,000 bicycles and electric payment. And in fact, there is an opportunity here, because in July, they are going to change all these systems with all the bicycles in the city. And it is only working in some parts of the city. It is important to know, because Mexico City is huge, really huge, and it works only in the most fancy places of the city, and they are going to change all the bicycles, all the stations. They are going to put electric bicycles here in Ecoviti, and it is really a success story. The second one is Paki Mobile. It is an app that is used in Puebla, in the city of Puebla, that is like 2 hours from Mexico City. And it is an app that allows you to pay the parking meter without your smartphone. And also you can check how many times is remaining for the parking meter, and you can put more money or leave the car. And the third one, I think it is quite interesting. It is a program between the state of Jalisco, Guadalajara, and Didi, that is called, at least here in Mexico, it is called the Chinese Uber. And they are developing a program with big data and smart traffic lights to improve or to manage the traffic in the city, and they try to decrease the traffic in some times of the day. Okay, about the environmental, unfortunately, Mexico is not a potential country here in this sector because the government politics are not very green. Of course, some cities, big cities, have programs to improve or to management the environmental situation. For example, Mexico City is a city with a lot of pollution, and they have programs especially to management the water, the energy, and waste. But unfortunately, they are not accounting for green energy, renewable energy in the country. In fact, then I am going to speak about this, but they are now constructing a refinery here in Mexico in 2022. That is quite strange. But the cities, the pollution in cities is huge. And the main opportunities here in this sector, in the cities, I think that is improving the mobility. You told before about the electric car. It is not happening here. There are not electric cars here in Mexico. In fact, there is an application that is called Bit. It's very similar to Uber. And it is different because they use electric cars here in Mexico, Teslas and Jack, that is a Chinese electric cars brand. But mobility is still with a very American culture of using the car every day for everything. And the main opportunities here, in my opinion, is the promotion of the public transport, but that it is really inefficient, and also promotion the use of bicycles and electric scooters in the city. And also, I think it's a huge opportunity in recycling in the city. About new technologies, the IT sector has had a lot of consecutive growth years in Mexico, and the main focus of this sector is in Guadalajara. That is called normally here in Mexico the Mexican Silicon Valley, and a lot of American technological companies are placed here in Guadalajara. And it is a sector that is growing very fast, as I told. Especially foreign companies come here to Mexico City and to Guadalajara to place their technological centers. And there are a lot of opportunities, especially in big data, in Internet of Things, because they are doing a lot of things and good policies, but they are still far from the United States and of course from Europe in the new technologies. And in Querétaro, there is a very interesting cluster that it is the first Mexican cluster, and it is called Vortif, and it is about IT companies in the Querétaro region. And the last one about construction. Nowadays, there are 4 main construction projects in Mexico. Very polemical projects, but they are going on. And the first one is the airport of Felipe Angeles, the new international airport of Mexico City, and will be inaugurated next week, in fact. And it will have the largest industrial and logistical hub of Latin America. I think the airport is going to start operating next week, and they are starting now with the construction of this logistic hub. But it is expected to be really important because of the connection with Querétaro, and there will be a lot of opportunities here for technological companies to management these logistic companies and industrial companies that are going to place here it is in the state of Mexico, like 1 hour from Mexico City. Then Dos Bocas refinery that I told before, in 2022, Mexico is building a refinery with the army, and they are having a lot of problems because of the construction of a refinery is not very easy, and they have some problems, but they expected to produce 20% of the Mexican gasoline here, because nowadays Mexico is a country with petroleum, with oil, but they export this oil to the United States, and then they import gasoline to their cars, so they buy it quite expensive, and then trying to produce their own gas oil here in Mexico. The third one is Mexico-Toluca train. Sorry. Mexico-Toluca train that after 8 years of construction, it is an intercity train that will connect Mexico City and Toluca. That Toluca is one of the main cities in Mexico. It is like half an hour from Mexico City, but it is 2.5 million people living there. So it is really a big city, and it is going to be 43 kilometers, and it is expected to be completed in 2023. And finally, the Mayan train, that it is one of the polemic projects from AMLO, that is the Andrés Manuel López Obrador, it is the Mexican president, and it is very controversial project because it is going to cross all the Yucatan Peninsula with all the natural properties and indigenous populations there, and it is going to be an environmental disaster, but they are constructing it, and it is expected to be completed also in next year, and it is going to join the main cities from Tulum, Playa del Carmen, Cancun, and Campeche. And that's all. I try to be very fast and direct. So, of course, if one of you have any question about the country or about any specific sector, you can write me and we can speak about it.
Okay, thank you very much, Pedro, for your presentation.
Okay.
Also, I now give you time, anyone, for making questions to Jorge. Excuse me, said Pedro. Direct things. Okay, anyone has any question? Okay, I'm going to close this presentation.
Jorge?
Pedro, tell me.
Yeah, I'm curious when you mention all the politically related problems and the projects you have, and for the Maya train, because one of my clients is going to be working on the project. So what is your view, or that it's whether that project is going to go on or not?
This is going on, but there are a lot of protests for indigenous communities here. It is going to be completed next year for sure, but the image of this project for foreign population, especially, and for foreign companies, it's not the best, and it is like I think that you know Andrés Manuel López Obrador, and you can be more agree or disagree with him, but he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it because it is the biggest project of his government with the airport of Felipe Ángeles, and I am sure that it is going to be completed next year.
Okay.
I don't know if fortunately or unfortunately, but it is going to be completed. I think this is my opinion.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Jorge, I have a question, the same question I'm asking everyone, okay? Is there any need of having local partners to do business? Not business with private companies, but doing business with public entities, government or local agencies and so on?
I think it's an important fact because here in Mexico, for example, it depends if you are an Spanish company and it is this cultural and language similarity. But if you are European or from another country, I think it is important having a partner here. For example, Mexico is the country of the clusters, and many companies, very interesting companies, are inside a cluster. For example, Vortice, that is IT cluster in Querétaro, and it is the first one in the country. I think it is quite important having in touch with these associations or having a local partner, because here business are slow, the maturity progress of a project is very fast, so it's very large, and you can spend a lot of months or years to develop a project here. So it is important having a person or a partner here that can help you, especially if you are from Europe and you are used to European culture, that everything is more efficient and fast. Here it doesn't happen. Projects are a little bit slow, and business in general. So I think it is important having a partner here.
We have an experience there of for this is an piece of advice for European companies. There in Latin America, they don't have no in the dictionary. So we have encountered some serious problems when you present an offer. They don't say you no, they don't reject it. You suppose, okay, it's this not a no, it's a yes. You start working, and one of our partners said, you realize you have a no when you send the first bill and you don't get an answer. What's going on? Okay, no, we don't like the project, but why you haven't sent anything to me? Okay, because saying no is so impolite. We don't say no. Okay, but
they don't say no, but when you have been a lot of years here, you realize when the yes is a no. You see it in their eyes. But yes, or for example, when you have meetings here, it is not strange that you are in the place and anybody arrives and you get alone in the meeting because anybody is here. So,
everybody's
yes,
late.
Yes, but it is in all Latin America because
it's Caribbean way of life.
Caribbean rapping, yes.
Yes. For our partners in the project, they are so European.
Yes, you have to change and to adapt to the situation, because if not, you get crazy.
We go there with a full agenda of meetings for the whole day, having a meeting every 2 hours, and for the second meeting you are late for sure. In the third meeting, of course, you are out of time, and in the last one is for dinner, not for meeting. Yes, but the good thing is they work in the same way, so you unless you are going to have all the meetings, but different timetable.
Yes.
It's a different experience, different way of doing.
Yes, different cultures. Yes, especially with European culture.
Yeah, if you get used to it, you are perhaps not going to live longer, but you are going to live better. No such rush going to, and of course, we have seen that as big cities there in Latin America, we are not used to this size of cities. So going from one point to another is no, it's not easy.
And there is a mobility opportunity for smart cities companies, because as I told, mobility problem is a big problem here, because you spend 2 hours to move from in the same city, to move from a point to another point, and not only in your personal life but also in logistics, in freights with products, or it is very inefficient. So there is a lot of opportunities here, and not only the pollution and use of electric car that it is far away from here, but also in the spend of time in moving here in the city.
We were in Bogota in Trancón.
Trancón, yes.
In Bogota, Trancón, which is a traffic, heavy traffic.
Yes.
We were in a taxi, and an old man with a stick were going faster than us in the car. He was going way, and he was faster than us. So the mobility there is
yes. In fact, I move by bicycle here in Mexico because it is faster than moving by car. The program that I told before, EcoBici, that I use every day, and it works really good because you save time moving through the city.
Yeah. Another thing, another difference is this the problem with the size of the cities is that you can't afford to start doing business with the whole city. You have to start doing by quarters or by zones, not because Bogota is 8 million people, Mexico is 28, 29. It was
Nobody
20
knows.
several years ago. So.
Nobody knows. No.
So doing business, you have to.
Yes, you have to afford these cities like a country.
Yeah.
Like a country with different regions, but of course the size is huge, and you have to separate the regions to afford all the cities.
This kind of cities have different majors. Just call it majors, ruling it's part of the city. You have a big major, of course, but you have several majors. This is what when I said know the ruling, know the key actors of the country, is also knowing this way of doing things, or way of having the ruling people. Because sometimes you go to, we have an experience in Santiago de Chile. If you are going to talk with the mayor is sometimes has no way to do things. He has no charge for doing several things. The people in charge are these zone mayors, to call it.
Yes, Mexico City has a main presidents, but then there are 9 mayors and each mayor manage the mobility in the place.
So you have to know this way of ruling, or way of having, the structure of deciding people. It's so important, because sometimes you spend a lot of money, and you waste a lot of time contacting people that is not going to do business with you, or as I said, they are so polite, they are going to receive you, they are going to talk with you, but at the end, perhaps they are not the right people to contact. Okay, any other question you have? Yes, no? So perhaps we can finish the webinar here. Prior to finish, I put in the chat the link to the B2B meetings, so you can arrange meetings. If not, because the time is going to finish at 8 o'clock in the afternoon here in Europe. If not, you can contact us and we can arrange meetings out of this timetable. Okay, for you to have the opportunity to meet each other. Okay. So if it's okay, we can finish here. Thank you everybody for attending. Of course, thank you to the panelists for being here and spend the time with us. It was great listening to you and these possibilities and also these needs for doing business there. And I hope to see you soon, all of you, and do business with you. Okay. Thank you very much, people.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you, everyone.
See you.
Thank you,
Everybody.
Igor. Thank you, Aklima,
Bye-bye.
and everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Yeah, bye.